things he says, which I understand why young men, you feel a bit lost, why they gravitate to his confidence. He's very good at building business. He's proven it. He's made himself extremely rich doing it. A lot of what he says about masculinity and stuff, I completely would sign up to, actually.
Yeah.
And his confidence can help people.
You brought Brittany Renner in to talk to your players.
Mm-hmm.
What were you trying to accomplish by bringing her in, this social media influencer?
Brittany is a real woman.
Okay.
She keeps it 100. She keeps it straightforward. And she is a tremendous influencer on Instagram. Bringing her in to talk about game
Right.
from a woman's point of view
Right.
was unbelievable. Had I had Brittany Renner in a meeting when I was in college, I might be about $15 million more.
Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notifications button. Before I get started, let's get to it.
Richer. Because she broke it down to these guys.
To her game and what she was trying to accomplish, and not her
No,
game,
just
but
the women. And she even told them, I got more, the coldest line she said, I got more checks in my DM than Nike. I said, wow. That mean they had her.
Yes.
Okay, and she's trying to tell them how this is played out. She say, it's women out there that do their homework. They know everything about y'all because you tell on yourself on the gram and on social.
He's absolutely right. That's how come when it comes to success, one thing that you're going to notice is that real successful men, they hide their money because they know that the women are going to come for them, and the women genuinely do not like them. Guys, you have to understand, when you start to gain success, you cannot want the women so bad that you run out and buy materialistic things to lure them in, because all you're doing is setting yourself up to get a woman just like Brittany Renner.
So they know how to go get you. And you thinking you conquering it and you ain't, because it's all a plan.
You think you run a game and they run a game on?
She was unbelievable. And I'm hoping, and I know, a few guys learned tremendously from her speech. She brought us, she opened a lot of eyes.
When you sit down with guys, and obviously they want to know about the game, the football game. But what advice do you give young players when you're talking to guys? Now you're coaching, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get out. But everybody would always, ask you questions. Coach, time, prime. What advice do you give these young guys? What advice did you give them?
In what regards? Because we talking about a whole plethora of things that I could say.
How to approach the game.
The game of football.
Game of football.
First of all, you got to love it.
He's absolutely right. When it comes to anything, not just football, you have to love it. One of the reasons why you have to love it is because you're going to get knocked down and you have to be able to get back up. That's what's going to come with life. It's your endurance when it comes to success. So when he talks about football, understand that he's also relating it to life.
You really got to love it. And some people ain't like with it.
Love the game or love the pay? Because I think sometimes they love the pay more than
that's what I'm saying. So the thing about it, the game gonna give you what you give it.
Right.
And when you're not giving it nothing, it ain't gonna give you nothing. And you can't prostitute the game. You can't just seduce it and act as if it's gonna produce a child for you. It's not gonna do that. The game is sophisticated, man, and the game has game. The game understands what you put in, you're gonna get out. The game understands that there has to be affection and attention and consideration for it to give you the results that you want. This game is real, and you can't just love this game just for this amount of time. It's like a woman. You got to love her intensely. You got to take her home with you. You got to take her out with you. You got to just shower her with gifts and focus, because she needs it and she wants it.
What you have to realize is he's speaking from a different perspective. He always talks like this, but he's always the guy that does get the women. You have to understand one thing about Deion Sanders. He has a lot of children by different women. So he is speaking from the mindset of the playboy who can have a whole bunch of kids and continue to pay for her. Him himself can pay for the fairy tale, because if something goes wrong, as rich as he is and as notarized as he is, he can always get another woman. This is not going to work like that for every guy. Now, you guys could go over to the Club Shay Shay, which is Shannon Sharp's podcast, and you could finish watching the rest of this. The next video coming up, I have Piers Morgan is going to be defending Andrew Tate in the next clip that's getting ready to start right now. This right here is a scene where the Taliban has told the women that they cannot go to the universities. What you have to understand is, over in Middle Eastern countries, They value family. They value the women raising the children because that's ultimately what they're going to end up doing. I feel like women should get an education just to have common sense, because when you're walking around without knowledge, you're going to be blind to reality. But when you're dealing with these type of countries, they like to stick with their rules. Do I believe it's right as a Muslim? I do not believe it's right, but I do understand why they're trying to enforce traditional values. I understand what they're doing.
Things he says, which I understand why young men, you feel a bit lost, why they gravitate to his confidence. He's very good at building business. He's proven it. He's made himself extremely rich doing it. A lot of what he says about masculinity and stuff, I completely would sign up to, actually.
Yeah.
And his confidence can help people. But when he was not prepared to condemn the
10th century
Taliban
barbarians
for that, because that to me is an open and shut case. If you don't condemn it, then I'm afraid you've got a problem. And it's not about sending feminists in to go to war, as I pointed out to him.
Which I actually do think is a valid point.
Well,
I believe it's a valid point too. If he's saying that women think they're just as good as men, they should be able to go to war. But the feminist right there, she's going to say that he doesn't like women. Let's get to it.
It's fine, but a lot of women do actually fight in the armed forces.
Yeah,
so
I think
the idea that
I
none of
think
them do is also nonsense.
I think he was using that to kind of attack the more extreme forms of feminism that says, women can do anything a man can do. And he was using that as an example.
Yeah.
But I do think, you lose people when you refuse to outright condemn some 10th century barbarians like this. But I don't think, when he said it has nothing to do with him, I think he's not willing to get into dicey territory in that way. But it's like, you speak in such absolute terms. Why
Do you think
not?
he's a misogynist?
I don't think he's a misogynist. No, I don't think so.
I mean, a misogynist means somebody who hates women.
Yeah,
I don't think he hates
women.
women.
I do think he hates women. I think he thinks
I don't think
women
he does.
are nothing. I think he would not know what to do with you and I, Esther, because he...
See, this is a woman that doesn't watch Andrew Tate. She just goes off of what everyone is telling her as to why he got banned. He got banned by a video that was a skit. He is looked at as a misogynist, but what they fear is the truth. They're scared that if a whole bunch of young men learn what he's learning, then a lot of women like this would not have any control. Women don't really want to be in charge. They just want control. They still want a man to lead them. The same thing that makes them cry is the same thing that makes them stay. The only type of people that hates the opposite sex are typically the ones that can't get one.
does not know how to deal. He gives interviews to people like you or to Hugo Rifkin. He'll give interviews to men.
But a lot of women I've spoken to about... Yeah, but a lot of women...
But he's done interviews with women. I've seen them before on YouTube.
Yeah,
and he's very polite and respectful.
Yeah, women do. A lot of women do like him.
Exactly.
There are a lot of women who don't know him who seem to hate him, ironically. But I'm not sure it's as clear cut as he's a misogynist.
I don't think he's a misogynist, and I have a brother who's probably within his target demographic, 23, and I can understand why his message would resonate with him, because it's normal.
I can understand why the
it's
message
normal,
would
exactly,
resonate.
for young men to feel like they don't have a place in Western society, and he actually makes that point. I just think when you don't want to outright condemn 10th century barbarians like the Taliban, you tend to lose your case with more moderate people. But again, we're not his target audience.
The fact that his understanding about what's happening in Afghanistan is that it's a feminist issue rather than a human issue.
I don't think he said that.
Well, no, he did. He said, send this feminist in.
Yeah, but he was being very facetious. Like, she's trying to make it sound like he really meant that. No, he was just trying to prove a point that women are only feminists whenever it benefits them. They're only screaming equal rights whenever it benefits them. Whenever it comes down to actually doing manly things, they back away from it. There's not feminists over there fighting the war in Ukraine. There's not any feminists anywhere fighting the war. Even the women that go to war in the United States never go near the war to the point where they have to shoot a gun. They're always somewhere sitting inside of an office. And that's what Andrew Tate is trying to say, is that if we're going to make feminists just as equal as men, then they should be out there fighting the wars the same as men. If not, stop trying to push your ideologies down on people that just doesn't relate to it.
It's a human issue where we made all these promises to people in Afghanistan and then we left.
Well, let's be
Women
clear.
built their life on
We
it.
betrayed those women.
We absolutely betrayed Biden.
Joe
As a human
Biden,
being,
in the way we pulled out of
completely.
Afghanistan overnight, and we betrayed not only people who work with us, the interpreters and so on,
But people
we
who
have left
died for them.
millions of Afghan women have just been tossed back to these barbaric
and servicemen
wolves.
who died for it. But the fact that he sees it, he says, oh, it's got nothing to do with me. As a human being, it
Yeah.
should have something to do with it. As someone who says he's
No,
proud
I agree.
Brit, it should
I
have
thought it was a
something.
cop out there. But albeit, again, a lot of what he says, I can imagine if I was a young man, it would resonate with me, probably for the right reasons. I think he's trying to give people confidence and a belief that being masculine is not actually a stick to
Bad
beat
thing.
you with, right? You can be a good masculine person.
He's absolutely right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the videos. I try to make more videos. Play, comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. If you like this type of content, make sure you go over to the Shay channel with Shannon Sharp and go to Piers Morgan channel to watch the full videos. Hasta la vista.